Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Nodos? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know show. We are ready to go. And listen, I got something to tell you guys because our friends at SeatGeek.com, they have allowed us to share with you that they are the only source to buy tickets to anything that you're going to try to see. Favorite band, sports team, any venue, and more, so much more. Right now, you can get $20 off. That's right, $20 off your purchase when you spend $50 or more. Just by entering promo code GOZ, G-O-Z. Visit SeatGeek.com to search for any event that you want. You can buy your tickets, and then make sure you use that promo code GOZ, G-O-Z. You get $20 off anything over $50 purchase. Save some money, enjoy the summer, have a blast. SeatGeek.com, and then make sure you enter that promo code.
Yeah, absolutely. SeatGeek, we love it. Getting concert tickets all the time. Next week, we're going to go to a concert, Joe. We're super excited to see it.
Bro.
And now's the time, too. With the way COVID has been, everybody's able to go out now and see these bands and stuff. And I've noticed, too, now I think because of the break with COVID and them trying to get into the studio the best that they can to put out new music, they're not promoting the new album as much. They want to hit you hard with the greatest hits. But meanwhile, say, hey, we have a new album, by the way, check it out. And that's such a great experience because you get to go there, see all the best songs that you loved so much and everybody was trying to listen to while they were stuck in their houses for the whole time of COVID. So we're excited for that. And we love SeatGeek. And that just means football season's coming around. You got to get them football tickets, too, also on SeatGeek.com. Promo code GOZ. That's right.
Training camps have started. They're starting to trickle in. Buddy. Rookies have reported. Veterans have reported for some teams today. I mean, it's getting exciting now. Now we're going to get into the heart of the offseason where training camp begins this month of August. We're going to see who can excel, who's going to end up declining, who's going to make the team, who isn't going to make the team. So a lot of exciting stuff happening for all 32 teams out there. And it's another chance to not only get better, but there's some hopes out there. Like for some teams that are still rebuilding, there's some teams that are on that. They're teetering between being good and being even better. You know what I mean? And try to maybe eclipse a divisional crown. So let's see what happens, what August brings for the teams in the NFL. But we're going to get to something really quick because something popped up today. And the Niners, listen, Jimmy G, we've been wondering for months now, like what's going to happen with this guy? Like, are the Niners going to make a decision? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to move on from him? Well, now we take a glimpse at what has happened today where the report has come out and said Jimmy G is able to seek a trade. Boom! That's right there. So now we finally get some concrete little piece of info that says this is what the Niners are going for now. Like when we had discussions before about Jimmy G, should Niners keep him? We thought maybe they should because is Trey Lance really ready? There's been some, weird reports coming out of Niners camp saying like, they're not really, they're not totally confident in him right just yet. He still needs some work to do. And we thought maybe Jimmy G stays, but here we go. If they're letting him go seek a trade, that means maybe they've made their decision. Maybe now they are prepared to move on from Trey Lance, and something that we thought might happen because Trey Lance was picked so high in the draft class, third overall, that you almost now you're married to him. Now you have to play him. You have to see what you have in him on the football field. It's time to move on. So here we go. We get some info now. Jimmy G's allowed to go seek a trade, and he just passed his physical, which is a big keynote in this whole situation. As now that he's passed his physical, now he is able to go seek a trade because, listen, no one's going to trade for an injured player. So, yes. But the big question now is because it's taken so long, because we're at this standpoint now of Jimmy G, you can go seek a trade, but who's going to want him at this point?
Mm-hmm.
What guys are available? What teams are really looking at quarterback now? Because we've seen Seattle make a trade, with the Broncos, with multiple players and bringing over the quarterback from the Broncos. I can't even remember. That's how relevant he is.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. And they're maybe he becomes their starter or not. We'll wait and see. But that was a team that a lot of people thought Jimmy G might get traded to. Now it's like, well, they seem to be comfortable, I guess, with the quarterbacks that they have, but should they be? Probably not. And then we thought maybe the Browns, because with the looming suspension with Deshaun Watson, and they're going to need someone to lead that team if he's not there, maybe Jimmy G gets traded to Cleveland. But now a report came out today, too, as soon as this one did, right after it, is that the Browns are not interested at all. So, and they don't want to pay the money either. You know what I mean?
What are you waiting for?
So that's the crazy thing, is like all these scenarios where he could have possibly, all these teams that he possibly could have been traded to, even the Panthers that nailed down a trade to get Baker Mayfield from Cleveland. Now they're set.
Yeah, all these things have fell right into place, and that's what's funny. Is because it's been so long, like you said, they were waiting for the time. This question has been looming since I think they were bumped out of the NFL season last year, and they were moving on. That's the question that first hit the 49ers. What are they going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? We've heard that maybe he's going to be on the move. Maybe they were just waiting to make sure that he was going to pass a physical, so then they go and move on. And now that it has been this long, I mean, veterans are to report by the 26th here into camps for some teams.
There's already teams right now veterans are reporting today.
Absolutely. And so again, he would be behind the eight ball in trying to pick up somebody else's playbook here to try and jump on with some of these teams where there's other guys that have had a chance. Like you talked about the Denver Broncos and having Drew Lock already has been in-house and be able to try and consume the playbook here to move forward as the quarterback for the Seahawks. But also, I mean, they have another guy that's been there, Geno Smith, who already knows the playbook too. He's been with Seattle forever, and he's right now winning the starting job as far as I know with coaches, and we still have camp to go through and see what's going to happen. But if there are still rumors about possibly them being still interested in Jimmy Garoppolo then there could be something to that. So you want to take a look at some teams that might be interested. Like you said, the Cleveland Browns, they already made their move, and so did the Panthers. Panthers were in that conversation before, but they do bring in Baker Mayfield. So they're probably out. What other teams would you see that could have the interest there? There's a lot of teams that still have a young quarterback, but I think they're really on that borderline to where they want to see what they have in them. If you look at the Giants and Daniel Jones, he's on his last year to kind of figure out why he is before if they're going to sign him to a long-term deal or at least an extension to an extent, or just move on. I don't think they're just going to all of a sudden say, oh, let's bring like a Jimmy Garoppolo in and so that we have a better chance of winning, and that means you've already moved on from Daniel Jones. I think they want to see what they have, and that's what you have with a lot of different teams here, like Davis Mills with the Texans and stuff. Even Tua with Miami. But if you take a look at Miami, for me, that would even be a team that could make a little sense here if they really weren't sold so much on Tua, because they still have some cap space. They have all that talent, and it seems like they're trying to build to kind of make a push and win something now. And you've got the former offensive coordinator from the 49ers there. Jimmy G already settles in nice with that, and you've got all this talent around you. I mean, Jimmy G would like it because he'd be built for success.
There's a couple other storylines to also keep in mind. Is like you have the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I mean? And their quarterback situation and how he's looking for a big-time deal on Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? So he's looking to cash in. Now, that creates some uncertainty. Now, it's not that I'm saying they're willing to move on from Lamar and bring in Jimmy G, but it's a scenario that has to be brought up, because what if they can't agree on a contract? The relationship is torn apart. And now it's almost like they have to trade him, move on from him, and they're going to need an answer after he's gone. So that is a possibility still. You can't rule that completely out. It's not likely, but you just can't completely rule it out. Another thing, too, is you have teams like Jim was mentioning where, like, Miami Dolphins with Tua. They've had uncertainty with him, but that's only because I don't think the guy's been given a true shot with some players around him. Now you look at this year where they've kind of beefed up that roster even more, and now he's got plenty of weapons. You know what I mean? The offensive line is yet again improved again for another season. He's got running backs galore behind him. He's got Tyreek Hill that he's going to be able to utilize. So, and a new offense, a new coaching staff. So maybe this is the year that Tua actually takes a step forward and shows people and proves to people that he is the quarterback for the future. Now, if he isn't, if he can't get it done, if he doesn't do enough to secure that position, then maybe you do have to think about bringing in maybe a Jimmy G this year and just sitting behind Tua in case like an insurance policy. You know what I mean? But that also includes you need to extend Jimmy G. You need to sign him long term. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different scenarios. I mean, you even think about Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. Kirk Cousins has been there all this time. He's made so much money. His agent's unbelievable, by the way. Kudos to his agent for getting him not only guaranteed money, but higher pay than he deserves. But not to mention, and I'm not saying he's garbage, but he's a good quarterback, but nowhere near $30 million a year. His contract is going to expire after this season. So what does that mean for the Vikings' future? Now, is this a move that the Vikings could do? I think this is almost like a perfect fit for Jimmy G to go to Minnesota, where they already have weapons. They got a hell of a running back in Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I don't know how much longer he's going to play, but they have weapons. They have players where a guy like Jimmy G could be inserted and they still keep the ball rolling. They still are competitive. And who knows, maybe adding Jimmy G over Kirk Cousins, maybe that improves the offense. And they're able to get deeper into the season and have a winning record and maybe even competing for the division. The other thing, too, is what about the Atlanta Falcons? There's no set quarterback there. Like, I understand they drafted, you know what I mean, Desmond Ridder, but that doesn't mean Desmond Ridder is going to be the answer either. We all know right now that they're going to experiment with the quarterbacks that they have, and there's no guarantee, though.
Don't be rude.
So yeah, well, I mean, because
of all that,
Mariota, it's like,
why not go ahead and bring another quarterback in like Jimmy G, as long as it's on the cheap. If you don't have to give up, and I don't think anyone's going to have to, because one, you got to take on that contract right anyway. There, yeah. But if you're able to acquire him for low round pick, and you can eat that contract this year, and then maybe give it an extension where it's a little bit more cap friendly, then why not pull the trigger?
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier today too. How about Atlanta? Because again, they decided to roll the dice, and they want to go in on a Marcus Mariota there to run that offense, which he should know it too because of Arthur Smith, being very familiar with one another. But again, when you look at talent levels, Jimmy G has been there. I mean, and this is the thing that you got to look at with his resume. And I think Colin Cowherd had brought up that, again, he's got to be one of the most underrated quarterbacks around there. But I think there's some reasoning to that, just because, again, hasn't been really asked to do too much. And when he hasn't really produced a lot for him. If you take a look back at previous, like, whether it be Super Bowls or high-pressure situations, that's where he hasn't really stood out and really shown that he is a true starting quarterback, franchise quarterback for people. That's why this question is always looming around Jimmy G. Not asked to pass a lot, only have a certain amount of passing yards during the playoffs, running the ball, having it. Deebo Samuel be almost like a crutch to him at times. So not being able to really take over this team, and being the guy has loomed over him. But if you want to look at Jimmy G and you look at his resume, he has been to the Super Bowl. He has been through multiple playoff games. So he does have the credentials, I guess, if you look at it in his career, that can get you further than somebody like a Marcus Mariota, like you're talking about. Somebody like a Carson Wentz that we're even talking about here with the Washington the Commanders, right? I say I almost messed up their name. The Washington Commanders here. Right. And that's why we're even asking about Tua, somebody, again, who, looks to me like he can lead a team. I like him. He hasn't really given a fair shot, but if that team really feels like they are ready to win now, that's when you kind of should pull the trigger. As far as some of these other ones that aren't really ready to win, for me, it doesn't really make sense to bring in that guy that you're going to pay that contract to if you're not really looking to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Unless you were going to use him to kind of groom another quarterback that's there in the waiting.
The only thing that I'll say about that is, like, quarterback is the most important position, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
However, if you don't have a quarterback, and even though your team isn't going anywhere, you need to start somewhere. So quarterback is the most important position. So why not bring a guy like Jimmy G to your team, and then you build around him? You know what I mean? And maybe it's a faster path to do it that way, because now that you have the quarterback already, and you just add some weapons here. I mean, you can find weapons. You can find offensive linemen. You can find defensive players to help this team, whatever team he goes to. So that might even fast track your team to becoming more competitive sooner rather than later. I mean, that's the only thing that I would say about that. But there's even a couple other teams that just came to mind that maybe nobody's even given it a thought. Is why not the Saints? Like, they have Andy Dalton, right? Mm-hmm. And they have Jameis Winston, but we know what those two quarterbacks are. Mm-hmm. And it's not saying, I'm not trying to slight them, but we also know what Jimmy G can do. Jimmy G has been to the Super Bowl before. Jimmy G has been in the playoffs. Jimmy G has had winning seasons and has done a fairly good job. So why not add some more competition to the most important position in football, to the Saints? May the best man win through training camp, and let's go Saints, marching into for this season, and who knows where they could end up. They got a really good defense. They have, now with Thomas coming back, as long as he can get right, get healthy, you got Jarvis Landry. You got a lot of weapons. You got Chris Olave from the draft. So there's a lot to like there. Not only a really good offensive line, it's a pretty impressive roster. They're just missing that leadership role at quarterback.
It seems like a real Saints move, too. I mean, again, for somebody to fall to them like that, all of a sudden, again, it's one of those things that you don't really see them making a move, but when that guy like that pops up and they go get him, you're like, oh, man, they did it again.
But the only problem with that scenario is that the Saints are one of those teams that are strapped a little bit for money. So they would have to work some restructured contracts and to create enough cap room to get them, but it's doable. We've seen them, we've seen them come back from $60 million over the cap this past offseason.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. They've come a long way from being where they were and severely under. I think they've really made up a lot of ground on that whole thing.
And one other team that I want to mention real quick, and I know nobody, and I mean nobody's thinking about this team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'll tell you why. Because Tom Brady's not playing. I highly doubt he's playing past this season. I really do. I think he'll finally retire after this year, regardless of where they end up. What's your future after this? Kyle Rask? He's not proven.
Right.
Like, yes, he has promise, but he's not guaranteed. Why not bring Jimmy G over, give him a 2 to 3 year, maybe even a 4-year contract extension, spread that cap out a little bit more. You're not going to have to pay a lot of money like Tom Brady, and you know what I mean? So bring in Jimmy G. Now, it's just insurance at this point. So after Brady retires, and who knows, what's to say this year Brady gets injured? Finally, in his whole career, maybe he gets injured, done for the year. And now you're like, oh, shit. How are we going to salvage this season? Well, good thing that you're already traded for Jimmy G, because now he can come in and right the ship for you and keep it afloat. So instead of rushing the rookie out there and saying, hey, Rook, you got to get us into the playoffs, now you have a proven vet waiting in the wings, ready to go on the field and keep the offense rolling. So it's also insurance for the future. If Kyle Rask doesn't pan out, you still got Jimmy G. So just something to think about.
We've got Jeremy Cluse in the house with us tonight, Joe.
What's going on, Jeremy?
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. He says, what about the Seahawks? Do you think he could go there?
Now, that's something that we've talked about, and it's almost like a broken record now. We've thought before Baker got traded, before a lot of the quarterback additions and signings, we thought Seattle might be a destination. Before that trade for Andrew Luck, we thought that, or Drew Lock, we thought that would be that's it. That's the move. That's what's going to happen. And it never happened. Instead, Drew Lock goes there and company, some Bronco players there as well, Noah Fant included. But So now that that's happened, that's transpired. Baker moved on, gets traded to the Panthers. Now, and Cleveland says they have no interest.
Yeah.
So the 3 teams that we thought were possibilities now are no longer possibilities. At least that's what's being reported. But Seattle does still make sense because, let's face it, Drew Lock, what he's been able to show in small spurts of having some kind of a successful play here and there. But nothing strung all together in a whole complete drive or a complete game type of thing. So Drew Lock might struggle still in Seattle because now not only is he with a new environment, new receivers he's got to develop chemistry with, but also he's got to learn another new offense, and he's got to get out there and prove himself yet again. And what's to say he fails a second time with a different team?
Don't fail again.
Exactly, Vader. And then now, but if you pull off a trade for Jimmy G, who's a proven vet, he's definitely can help your team and especially improve that team while maybe Drew Lock is still learning that offense, while maybe Drew Lock is still developing. Because Drew Lock, I'm not going to sit here and say like Drew Lock is definitely this close to being a starter. But what I'm saying is maybe with Seattle's coaching and their approach with him and how to develop him, maybe it's better for him. But maybe he still needs more time to get there, to be a starter. So if you get Jimmy G, there's no pressure now. You know what I mean? You don't have to rush Drew Lock out there, even though you acquired him in a trade. You don't have to push him out there if he's not starting ready. You know, so instead, you'll have Jimmy G, and Jimmy G is more than capable of getting the ball to Tyler Lockett, to DK Metcalf. You know what I mean? To the running backs. So
yeah,
I think it's a good scenario.
If you look at even trade scenarios, they get to looks like seek him, but I'll prove it. I don't think he's even looking for one of those teams like, oh, this is the team that's kind of purged, ready to set to win a championship. I think he just wants to find that place that he's going to start. Again,
he wants
he wants the opportunity to be able to be their starter because he sees the writing on the wall with this team. You don't draft the quarterback that high if you knew that it was going to move up. So he's trying to rejuvenate his career to extend it to the best he can. And if he could find a better team than the Seattle Seahawks, because you already know right now they're rebuilding still. But if you add Jimmy G to the roster and you have those 2 wide receivers that are good, I mean, that helps that offense out that little bit. And they did try and help out that offensive line a little bit this year, but still, let's see how well they can do it. And it's a team that also likes to still try and keep the ball, running the ball a lot too. So as long as he doesn't make mistakes here and can stay on his feet, that will be a lot different for this team.
But that's the thing for Jimmy G is that's where he's come from. The Niners run the ball a lot. So it's like it's no different.
And there he gets to play the Niners twice a season too. So I mean, you get the kind of the revenge game, and the TV channels are going to love that. Throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
Jimmy G coming back.
And that's the other thing too is like. Another team popped in my head too is like maybe the Steelers, but then I started to think about it. I'm like,
that quick,
well, they already have Mitch. Mitch is going to be there. Mitch Trubisky has already had some practices there. He's probably going to be their starter, and they know it. Like there's a reason why they acquired him in free agency because they have absolute belief that he could be their starter. You know what I mean? So. Is it possible? Yeah, it's still possible because they do need another quarterback for competition and what have you. But at the same time, it's like you got a young quarterback right now in Mitch. And I think he could develop to be their starter and be a good starter for them because they're not going to ask a whole lot from him as a quarterback. They're not going to ask him to be Big Ben. They're going to ask him to be a manager, run the offense, hand the ball off, you know what I mean, to Najee. So... And they're a running team. So, but I think with that whole scenario, I don't think they're going to pull off a trade like that. Houston Texans, like you mentioned earlier, that's another spot that possibly could happen. I mean, Texans have a lot of money; they could definitely afford them, and it gives them also some extra insurance in case Davis Mills gets hurt or doesn't play that well this year. Maybe defenses catch on to him from last season, and now they got him locked in and know how to defend him. But it's a possibility. So just because those 3 scenarios, Panthers, Browns, and Seattle, look like they might not happen, there's still going to be interest. There's still going to be teams looking for extra help.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Philadelphia Eagles just popped in my head.
Really?
Because here's the deal. This is the year where he's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
Jalen Mills.
Okay.
Or
Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
He's got to prove himself this year because that's the whole circulating thing. The Eagles organization and front office even had questions on him last year.
Right.
So coming into this year, now that he has A.J. Brown, he has added weaponry to his arsenal, a really good offensive line in front of him. There's no more excuses.
Right.
This year, you have to take a step forward as a quarterback. So if Hurts tends to slip, tends to play down, and doesn't play up to his full potential, then this is also another move that the Eagles could have for insurance.
Do it in there. Yeah.
He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing, and that could work as well.
Yeah, that might be
All right,
best for them too. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. We'll see. This is just the first day we're finding out about everything here, so a lot of off-season or training camps to get going and see what happens, with the storylines and everything else that can keep coming out of camp. We're hearing a lot of different great things about a lot of players that we like as camps are rolling into some stuff. So we're super excited to keep track of that. If there's anything you guys want to talk about out there too, don't forget to light it up in the comments.
Drop it in the comments.
Absolutely. But first, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about our friends at Mohawk Honda. That's right. Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Ridge Road. That's right. Mohawk Honda, where they go out of their way to please you, and their slogan is perfect because they seriously do. And they take care of not only the people that come in and want to buy a car. I follow them on social media, and they're forever having parties or cookouts for their employees, on the weekly. So a company that takes care of their employees, and then they take care of the customers as well. I mean, it's an all-around great thing. It's a family. The Harridan family run it. They've had for years now here, and that's why their slogan fits perfect. And in a time where the cars being tough to try and get right now, it is prime position right now to go bring your car in for a trade-in. You'll get ultimate value here with that Kelley Blue Book instant cash offer. It's still going on. You can go even on Kelley Blue Book's website, or just go to MohawkHonda.com, and you can put in all your information about your vehicle. They'll give you a price right there, they think it's worth right there, so you can even go and they'll sell it right there on the online right there. Just take it right there, or you can look at something else too while you're there to trade it in on a new ride, something that fits you now. You're looking to get rid of the old one. So check it out, MohawkHonda.com, or drive your way over to Freeman's Ridge Road there to Mohawk Honda, and they talk to my man Cam McKenna over there. You got Greg Johnson too, the general manager too, if you just want to go to him. Mohawk Honda, where they go out of their way to please you, and they'll put you in the ride that you want and you deserve. All right, Joe. Something also that came out this week, too, and we do this every year, so we're trying to roll into it. We're going to do just the wide receivers this time, but I think in the next couple episodes, we're going to bunch a few together. But Madden, everybody complains about their Madden ratings every season and stuff, too, and we always have a thing about John Madden, the video games, and how they do their rating system. And it's always been a thing that irks me. I have an issue with the 99 altogether. But a separate issue is that, again, how are you rating some of these guys at this, and then this guy is that, and they're really similar and whatever, and where are you getting this from? And then when you look at their end result of their rating, if you look at their attributes that you had rated them at, whether it be agility, catching, spin move, whatever, that still doesn't average out to this number that you have as a player altogether. So we, a few years back, decided to have this fun thing that we go back and we re-rate all of the players here in certain positions. So this week, that's right, yesterday or day before they came out with the wide receiver ratings. So let's take a look at the wide receiver list right here. And we've got Devontae Adams here in the 99 in the 99 club. Cooper Kupp, 98. Tyreek Hill, 97. DeAndre Hopkins, even though he was injured all last year, 96. Stephon Diggs, I spelled his name wrong, it's 95. I didn't even finish Justin Jefferson, too. Look at that typo. How did I miss that one? How did that get past editing?
Listen, Justin, we mean no disrespect. We didn't mean to call you Justin.
There you go. 93, Mike Evans, 92. Keenan Allen, 91. Terry McLaurin, 91. And then Amari Cooper, now with the Cleveland Browns. a 90 to wrap out the top 10. And, a lot of different players have voiced their opinion. They do it over Twitter. They do it out there, social media, how upset they are about their rating. You hear it every year. Jamar Chase upset about what he was given, Joe, and he's not cracking the top 10, even though he was one of the best receivers last year, to be one of the teams that took it to the whole Super Bowl there to play for representative as the AFC.
Yep.
So he didn't make it, and he was a little upset with that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go through our re-ratings now. So what we did is we took all the stats that mattered to the wide receiver position, whether it be speed, catching, release, things like that, agility,
any category where anything. It matters
so
for that
So
position.
it ended up being a total of 19 different things, and this is going to be our re-rating for these top 10 players, but we also took a look at another 5 or 6 just to see if these guys make the cut now and if any of the top ones get bumped. So let's have some fun and take a look at this and see what happens. All right, Joe, here we go with the number 1 guy here, Davante Adams. After we re-rated him, he comes in as a 91. There you go, a 91 right there, Joe. So what do you think about that? You're going from a 99 to a 91 right there. And that seems a little more realistic to me because, again, I have a thing with the whole 99 being a thing. That means that you are almost perfect. And nobody in the NFL is just about almost perfect. I see a 99 is when I go to create like a player and then I want to just boost my attributes all the way up to a 99 because I just want to be able to dominate into this game. It's like a cheat code. I don't think any of those players should exactly be a 99.
No, I mean, here's the thing: it is a video game, so like, there's this whole big thing. What makes it a big deal is like you're part of the 99 club, and that's the big deal. Is like you make it to the 99 club. It's a big achievement for the player in the game and that type of thing, and it means you had a phenomenal year the previous season. However, it doesn't have to be like 99 overall. Like I agree with Jimmy in terms of like, to be near perfect, to be that dominating of a player, where it's basically saying that you just can't be stopped. You know what I mean? And I understand there's a lot of really good players to elite players that are very tough to defend or very tough to deal with. But as far as the 99 club go, I'm okay with it because it is part of a video game. It's like a fun thing to be a part of. You're part of the 99 club. You're that dominating and what have you. But they could just change it up a little bit and make it a little bit more realistic. Somebody can be close to 99. I don't think anybody should ever be a 99. However, you could be part of like all pro. Let's just have like an all pro club to where you balled out last season. Now you're part of the all pro all Madden team or whatever, something like that. Yeah, and you don't have to be a 99, but you could be a 95, a 94, something like that. That's kind of like where my mindset is. Like, I understand the 99 overall rating is a little kind of absurd. I mean, to be near perfect but I don't know. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say let's move on to Cooper Kupp now. He was a 98. Now, after doing it all, he comes out to a 90 now. So again, numbers close. They went from a 99, 98. And now it's 91, 90. And that seems a lot more comparable to me. So, all right, moving on to number 3. Tyreek Hill, he goes down now. He was, a 97? Now to an 88, Joe. After we did the calculations and everything, with all the attributes and stats that they put in, themselves, the Madden group, he drops to an 88. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that drops him down the list, too. Like, I don't even know if he falls out of the top 10 with that rating.
We shall see, right?
But that was a low blow, so to speak. You know what I mean? But Tyreek Hill, phenomenal player. Not saying that he's not any good or anything like that, but in the end, it is what it is, right? Like, he has blazing speed. He's super, his acceleration rating is off the charts. It's a 99 top speed, 99 acceleration, and what have you. But he does lack in some other categories, so that brings him down to 88.
Here we go. Now moving on to another 4th spot, DeAndre Hopkins. He goes down from a 96 to a 91. Okay, so
which brings him up with Adams.
Yep, right around there. So that ties them up. Yeah, absolutely. So right now, those guys seem to be tied at 1 and 2 right now. All right, so now Stephon Diggs, again, I spelled it wrong here. So it's 89. So he's roughly in the same area too, still. So he's in the same ballpark. So he doesn't really
So he's
move.
Basically 4th. Tyreek Hill keeps dropping.
So he has the same exact rating as he did before. So that would make him as an 89 still.
Pretty accurate.
So he stayed the same.
Pretty accurate.
All right, so now Justin Jefferson, I got his name right this time. So he stays at an 89 as well. So these guys are staying neutral. So it seems like their ratings have gone off of what their attributes altogether, and that's about right here.
Right.
And then again, this makes more sense
That's
to me.
all we
Again,
ask for.
These are all better players. Some are better than others, but they're relatively close in the same thing, give or
Right.
take a few.
And
Like if you look at Justin Jefferson and say an 89, and then you look at Devontae Adams, and he's a 99. Come on, bro, really? Like,
He is.
I don't think.
I do agree
better,
with him.
but I don't think him being like 10% better. You know what I mean?
But I do agree with Devontae Adams being the best player,
Right.
best receiver anyway
Absolutely.
in the NFL
I would agree
because
with you there.
I mean, and you can have that argument all day. Like everybody has certain opinions on what kind of receiver makes the best receiver, and that's where you get the debates from. But in the end of it all, like, it seems to make sense the way we do the Madden ratings. I wish Madden would adopt that instead of having pointless categories like run blocking, pass blocking for a receiver. Why? They don't normally do that. So why is it in there? You know what I mean? Impact blocking and what have you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a little crazy, a little ridiculous. So those type of things, even like
I think the dumbest stat was the ability to break a sack.
the ability
what
to
the
break
hell
a sack.
Is that?
That should not be on any category except for quarterback. Yeah. And then also,
I thought that's part of breaking tackles, right?
They even have defensive ratings for the receivers and offensive players, which makes no sense. So
stupid.
Basically, everybody gets a rating for every category. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so getting back to the list here. Here we are. And back to number 7 now. We've got Mike Evans. So he drops, I think, right?
Yeah,
no, he stays. No,
bit.
he stayed the same. Stayed the same in an 88. So he is true. So it seems like at the back end, it looks like they got a lot of these guys, similar to what their attributes were. So right on board.
That's the other thing I was going to mention, too, is, it almost seems like Madden it tries and goes out of their way to separate every player, like by a point, by 2 points, by 4 points, whatever it is. It's like they don't want a lot of people to be tied. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, even though, like, a Hopkins and Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs, who all had phenomenal years, in Cooper Kupp, don't let me forget that, they all could be, like, a 91. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if they all had such great seasons, like, why not reward them and they all can be a 93 or something like that? It almost seems like they don't want to get into that whole rigmarole of a debate happening.
Well,
like,
I don't think
I
there
should
would
be
be
better.
that much even people upset about it. Even
But
I think maybe it would be even much of a debate.
It doesn't matter what you do. It does not. Even if we had all these guys at a 94 rating, the top 7, there's always going to be a debate. There's always going to be an argument over, well, I should be a point better than that guy because I'm faster, or I should be a point better because I'm more physical. Yeah. I have better hands. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be a debate, and that's what makes this fun, and that's why we bring it up every single season.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the end, I just wish Madden would kind of come to the realization to reward players that deserve to be rewarded, because there's even players that aren't in the top 10, that maybe even 20th, that had a good year. You know what I mean? But they don't get rewarded for how good of a year they had just because they might not be a big name.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now moving on to the next players here. There you go. I fixed Diggs. Number 8, Keenan Allen. Now, he goes down from a 91 to an 89. So he drops a little bit
really
there,
good
too.
player.
Again, really good player. Pretty close. So I think you can't really complain about that either as well, especially when you look at this list. And now Terry McClure, and he drops pretty drastically, right? No, he stays the same, 87. He was in 87 before, making the top 10. Here, still an 87.
And we can make our arguments before we get to the last player. we could make our arguments for what
So he stays the same even
what
in the
we
list.
think they should be rated. Because honestly, like Terry McLaurin, I thought with what he had to work with, everybody, he pretty much was the one player you could count on Washington all the time. Always around, always making plays, and I think he deserves a little bit higher of a rating like that. Maybe he should be an 89, not so much an 87.
Yeah. And again, it's all depending, too, on what they decide, I guess, because we try to rationalize it and say, was it off of their performance from last year? Some might say with some players, yeah, but then other players are kind of like, dude, I don't get that because they didn't play. So,
but that's the point. That's what they do. They it's all about the previous year, and then they take that into consideration into putting a rating for this new season. So. I disagree with a lot of their opinions or ideas on a rating for certain players, even categories. I was laughing last night when we were putting all this together that there were some receivers that, like a Tyler Lockett, where they kind of did him dirty. They gave him like a 30-something rating for a stiff arm. I mean, come on. Any player in the NFL, they all work out. They're all strong. They're all athletic. But you give him a 30-something rating for a stiff arm? Come on. I think he has a stronger stiff arm than that. You could have raised it up a little bit. But, like, stuff like that has happened with some players. And, like, Mike Evans was another one. Mike Evans, they absolutely dogged him in route running, which I think he is a really good route runner. And they had him in, like, the mid to low 80s on route running. So, certain things like that.
All right, here we go. Let's take a look now at Amari Cooper here, see what his numbers were, and he's an 88. So there you go. The change, let's look at the list from the top. That's originally what it was. All right, so you're seeing the 1 through 10.
Yep.
Right there. There's your list. There's the new changes right here. Now, after we looked at the other 5 or so, or even 6, we gave another handful of shot that were on the cusp. They were on the outside looking in at this top 10 list. And we said, Jamar Chase, we'll give you a shot too, to see what you're looking at. Some of the players that were out of the top 10 here that were close. Samuel, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Brandon Cooks, Jamar Chase, like we said, Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, guys like these guys, Michael Thomas, they're all on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Now, after we did our calculations, you saw what the top 10 now came out to. Now we have a new top 10. Joe, maybe I'll do a drum roll here. How about this for the reveal?
Do it.
Drum roll for the top 10. And here it is, the new top 10 of Madden. I said Madden 21. Madden 23, top 10 wide receivers. Devontae Adams at a 91. Deandre Hopkins at a 91. Cooper Kupp, a 90. Stephon Diggs with 4th here is an 89. Justin Jefferson, 89. And 5th, cracking out the top 5. Keenan Allen, staying there at 89. Goes to 6. Michael Thomas now jumps
up, baby,
to the top 10. Now, this is
up in the
crazy thing now. It's just crazy.
This is where
he jumps in now.
Yeah,
that's where this list gets
the discrepancy. This is bad. Like, Michael Thomas didn't play a single snap last season, so why does he get a high rating? Like, listen, I get it. We know what Michael Thomas is capable of, but he is coming back from a major injury. He didn't play at all last season. So if we're going off of what has transpired last season, maybe he should be lower than that. Maybe an 84. Maybe something around there, like mid-80s, low 80s, something like that. Because, honestly, he didn't even play. So how do you reward a guy to become one of the best, and now he's an 89?
Yeah, absolutely. So looks back down on this list again, and we talk about players that were upset about not being in here, too. Yeah, Michael Thomas, and right behind him now, Deebo Samuel moves right in here. So everybody's happy about that one now, too, after the season that he had.
Another major jump, and rightfully so. Listen, Deebo, we got you. We got you back into that top 10 where you rightfully deserve to be.
Yeah, absolutely, with the way it was a workhorse last season.
And to be honest, look at it. Look at how our ratings are. So from the fourth place all the way to 8th place, they're all 89s. They all are deserving of a really good rating. So why not give them what they deserve? That's all we're saying.
Absolutely. And then now you're moving on to Tyreek Hill now back, and he slides from 3rd to 9th.
Are y'all fucking serious right now?
Yeah,
for real?
A
Man,
huge
you
drop.
Know what? Yum, yum, yum. Get the fuck out. This ain't delicioso.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of people's reaction to this whole thing right here.
Yeah,
No,
I think I can only imagine
the internet could
people
possibly break on this one. Yes, absolutely.
Out.
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. And again, it's not ratings that we're giving them.
No.
We're using the ratings of their abilities that they put in there. So they're telling you that this is what this player was. Meanwhile, they're telling you also that he was a 97. So what is it? Is it 88 or 97? And now Mike Evans rounds out the top 10 right there for your new re-ratings for the wide receivers, Joe. Yep. We love it. We love it every time. Yeah, hashtag know what else. That's right. So whenever you guys have some more stuff you want to bring up, even topics like the Madden stuff. You guys like the Madden stuff, let us know if you want to hear more of that. And then other things you want to bring up too as well. Drop them in the comments
quick,
below.
man. I mean, it was a lot of fun to do those lists and redo the list. And just so we're absolutely clear, we use the same numbers that are given from Madden in terms of their different categories and the ratings that they put down for every category.
We would rate them. Yes.
However, the categories that are useless, that don't mean anything for each position, we take those out. And that's where we come up with the new rating, that what it should be. So there's times when they kind of bolster up those numbers a little bit to make them a 99 or a 97 or what have you. But in the end, it shouldn't be that. It should be right kind of where they are, where we have them on our top 10 list.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tune in next week for yet another top 10 list.
Yeah.
We're going to do a different position every week until we get through all of them. Excuse me. And if you're new to the show and you want to be part of this football family, you want to get into this. Listen, we're the most interactive football talk show there is out there. I swear to God, that's what we are. So listen, if you want to hop in, become part of this community, this great football, extremely smart community that we have surrounding us, all the support that we have, head over to YouTube, search us up, Football on the Know Show. Hit that subscribe button, lock it in right there, get the notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. You can also become a member, become a nodal on Facebook, the same deal. Just follow us, like our show, share the show to all your family members, friends, anybody that you know. Do the same thing on YouTube. Let's get this thing started. Let's get this thing going. And it only doesn't stop there, but we are also on anywhere you get your podcasts. That's it. Anywhere. Spotify, iTunes, you name it, we're there. So if you want to take us on the car ride with you, if you want to take us at work, we can be there. We can talk your ear off all you want. You can watch any shows. We got a shit ton of them. But make sure you watch them. Make sure you like them, share them, do it all on your podcast. Make sure you follow us. Football on the No Show. Let's go.
All right.
That is correct.
Absolutely. Joe, while you're super
And I'm all
hyped up.
pumped up because of Rays that I'm drinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, why don't we hit them up on that one then, too, while you're at it. Repsports.com. Get yourself some Raise Energy. Promo code Raise Them Up. That's right. When you go to checkout, promo code Raise Them Up, and you can get your discount here just exclusively from Football on the Know Show. Let me tell you, I text Joe all the time every week to try and make sure he brings some of these for me because I sometimes forget to get them myself, and it's terrible, and I can't do my show without it. So that's what kind of a problem I have. But you know what's another problem, Joe? Which just knock them all out again. We've got our friends here at Johnstone Supply who is trying to keep us cool this summer because it's crazy. We've had a lot of crappy summers, Joe, up in the upstate New York, but this summer so far is starting to be scorching. And tell everybody how they can stay cool in upstate New York here at Johnstone Supply.
I tell you right now, today was a blistery one. It was hot.
Man, and that humidity just drains you. You just want to die.
I was at work, bro. I couldn't stop sweating. I was pouring like a waterfall, bro.
Yeah, you do nothing crazy. Sweating.
Oh, dude.
You lean up against something, you get that wetness all on your back. Oh, it's
Listen,
gross.
Johnstone Supply is our dudes, our people. They're our everybody out there. Listen, summer is here. It's getting really freaking sticky. It's getting hot. If you want to stay cool this summer and all summer long, call Johnstone Supply in Troy. They're the people to ask questions. They're the people that can help you keep your apartment cool, keep your house cool, keep anything you want cool. Hell, they'll probably even put an air conditioner in your shed if you want to. But listen,
Yes, my master.
They ask the team there as well about their high efficiency central air conditioning systems and ductless mini splits. Listen, they got Goodman ones. They got Fujitsu ones. They even got Westinghouse. They're loaded. They're ready to sell them to you. They're ready to install them for you. They're all in stock and at great prices. Need someone to help you install that new system? Well, guess what? It's Johnstone Supply. That's what it is. In Troy, New York, can you help? They can help you there. Ask any questions. You want to give them a call. Listen, contact Tom, Kev, James, or Bird, and let them know, hey, I need help. What can I do to get cool, man? To stay cool all summer long, call Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York at 518-272-5922. That's 518-272-5922. Or visit them at 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, New York. You can also hit them up connecting online at johnstonesupply.com. Get a new AC system today.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop giving up. Just do it. Get it. Go to Johnstone Supply. Absolutely, Joe. All right, so rounding out our show here, you said a mouthful, so now it's my turn. It's the AFC East. Biggest questions here, Joe. We do this again. We've been doing it for the past couple of years here, but we've been going through with the whole NFC. We've covered the North and the South now of the biggest questions now of the AFC. We're now in the AFC East.
Right.
Our region here, we are in the Northeast, so a lot of know-it-alls around here are probably super excited to light up the chat here and stuff about some of these teams here. So let's get this thing geared off right, start rocking and rolling here. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills first here, the team that had finished the first in this division. Poised again, a lot of people think, to come back and win the Super Bowl again, even though they were so close last year, close the year before, but happened to run into the buzzsaw of the Chiefs again and just fail in that crucial overtime loss. So now that's even changed some of the rules with the overtime again because the people are so upset about that loss. So the one question I have for the Buffalo Bills, that's got to be the biggest question for them this season, is with having the toughest schedule in the NFL, can the Bills make another push for the Super Bowl then? Everybody thinks they can, but if you look at their schedule, they face a lot of these good playoff teams, and it's going to be tough, especially when you see, yes, their new offensive coordinator has been their quarterback's coach for the past couple of years under Brian Daboll, but will it be a lot of the same still? What might change with this team? Yes, they had a really good defense. That offense was top 5 throughout the season last year. Josh Allen, he should still look the same. Now people are starting putting him into the elite conversation here when you talk about quarterbacks. He's definitely on the top list for fantasy. I think Matt Berry just put that out now.
5.
So he's got top 5 for fantasy numbers now, especially with his running ability and being able to throw that deep ball and get you some big chunk yards. But again, facing this team, when it comes down to it, when they got to beat some of these tougher teams, and let me tell you, the AFC did not get any easier this year with the addition of Russell Wilson to the Broncos and things like that. And Deshaun Watson now with the Cleveland Browns. Yes, they might have been with the Texans before, another AFC team, but now with that Browns team that looks really close, like they want to make a push here, having Nick Chubb as a running back and Kareem Hunt still. I mean, there's a lot of pushback here with the Buffalo Bills and teams they really got to go through.
And it's the thing is, it's always an uphill battle for any team, any given season. Whether you're rebuilding, whether you're on the cusp, or you're one of the elite teams. It's never easy. So for the Bills, this is going to be a different season. Like, they still have their players. They've upgraded wherever they felt they needed to upgrade. They got a better offensive line. They got Josh Allen obviously returning it, and they drafted a running back, so that's going to make their running back depth a little bit deeper. And the one thing too is like their defense. We know how good their defense is, and over the last couple of seasons they've managed to gain more talent on that side of the ball. So it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere in terms of being a disappointment or anything. But the one big thing that I think people don't really point their finger on is, just like Jim mentioned with Brian Daboll, he's gone. And he was their offensive guru. He was the one that worked extremely well with Josh Allen, worked well with this offense, creating plays and keeping defenses on their heels. Now he's gone, and there's going to be a little bit of a changeover now. And because of that, it makes you wonder as a Bills fan, like, how good or how sustainable is our offense from last year to this year? Because whenever you have a different offensive mind calling plays, that means it's going to be different no matter how you look at it. His the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, is going to have a different mindset going into each week in a game plan. So than Brian Daboll. So there might be a little bit of a change. It's still going to be the same kind of offense run, but maybe in certain situations where Brian Daboll will call a run play, Ken Dorsey might call a pass play. So it's going to change the feel of the offense. It's going to be Ken Dorsey's offense, and whether he can be the next good offensive coordinator for them will remain to be seen. But at least he has all those players on the offensive side of the ball for him to call plays, because if he didn't have a Josh Allen at quarterback, if he didn't have like a Stephon Diggs at receiver, or or anybody that he could rely on to run the ball, it would be really hard. But since they have the nucleus of this team still together intact and the defense has gotten stronger with more talent, I think they're going to be just okay. I think they're going to be okay. It's going to be different to watch them. I feel like the first couple of weeks is going to tell us on how good this offense can be. And if it can come close to what it was last season, then I think they're still going to be okay. They're going to be right there in the hunt.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Because, again, these teams are getting better. And if you look into this division, these other teams that are in this division really making a push, too, to get that much better, to where a lot of people are taking a look at the Patriots and saying, what are you guys doing? You guys are falling behind, I mean, you guys were the cream of the crop in this division for so long. And now with the executive decisions that they've been making, and now it's still a big question mark on who really is going to be calling the plays or what it might be going on with the Patriots. Will they slip out and fall down to the bottom of this division? We'll see. We'll talk about them in just a few minutes here. But again, Buffalo Bills, they seem like they're loaded, ready to go. They did draft, Elam for the in the draft here, right? But then also Von Miller joins the group here to make that even defense solid, and Tre'Davious White is going to be healthy. So that defense, I think, will still be ultra solid here. So that's a great thing, and that's the thing that helps them the most, I think, going into the playoffs, because you think about teams like the Chiefs, we always said, they're really not that great of a defense. Their offense was the team that would try to get them, the thing that would move them forward, despite their defense. And we saw the discrepancies last year, especially when that offense wasn't playing as well, and Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, and he started to make poor decisions, stuff, and how that altered games. So they were lucky, I think, to make it as far as they did. And so the Bills, we'll see what happens moving forward.
The one thing that I think is an underrated move on their part is because, like, I've said that they've improved their roster, and they have, but they were very specific, and they were fine-tuning their roster because they added, where they had holes, they added players that can come in and help right away, like a Daquan Jones from Carolina to play D-tackle, alongside Ed Oliver. So, and just like Jim mentioned, Von Miller, like he comes in, he's gonna replace Jerry Hughes in this situation. So, and another huge hole was like, who's gonna play opposite Tre'Davious White? That was the biggest question. Levi Wallace left in free agency, which I feel like was a huge loss. Kind of like an underrated player, but now they didn't really have an answer. But then comes the draft, and at pick 22, they managed to land themselves, I believe, a stud at corner, a guy that can really come into this defense and will fit perfectly. So where they lost players or just didn't have a strong enough player there, they've upgraded where they were weak. So I have a lot of confidence in the roster. The only question that, like, I would keep going back to is that offensive play calling. Like, how much different is it going to be? If it's going to be close, I'm super excited for Buffalo. I'm right on board with them. I think they can really, they'll take it maybe to that next step that they need to, but without really knowing how the plays are going to be called, that's kind of what gives me a little bit like a step backwards and says, well, I don't know, we got to wait and see approach.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's move on forward to the Miami Dolphins here now. For my question for the Dolphins is, with the additions the Dolphins have made, can they be a legitimate threat in this division here now, Joe?
I mean, listen, we've known for the last 3 years that they've been, adding more talent. 3 to 4 years, they've been adding more talent Tua, we haven't really gotten a full season's worth of production from him. So the question mark is still on Tua. You know what I mean? A lot of people are hard on him and think that he's no good. But here's the thing is this Dolphins team is not only super young, but also they were able to acquire some studs this offseason. Tyreek Hill being the headliner of the whole thing. And, you know what I mean, having Jalen Waddle as a rookie last year, who really kind of, I think it was more impressive than a lot of people realize, is as a rookie receiver, normally they're kind of just dipping their toes in the water. They're normally they're getting their bearings. They're catching up to the speed of the game. There's a lot that goes into being a rookie. So as a receiver, it's usually like extremely hard to be that much more productive and helpful for your team, because maybe it's snaps that you don't get out there, or you have opportunities, but some you make, some you don't. So, but Jalen Waddle came in guns a-blazing last season, and Tua looked for him quite often. And when he got the ball in his hands, he made people miss. He gained some yards. He moved some sticks, scored some touchdowns. He did it all for them last year in his rookie. And that was a year when Devontae Parker went down with injuries. Preston Williams was not even around. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they were missing some key elements to that offense. Mike Gesicki did what he could, did a good job, but they didn't have a complete offense. Now, it looks like, on paper, it looks like finally, and I do realize this too, that is a whole new coaching staff. There's a new environment now for Tua and for all these young players that they've managed to add. Is they got Hill, they got Waddle, like I mentioned, they got Gesicki, they got an offensive line that's been improved. Their defense was good last year, but came down with a lot of injuries. And because of that, they got a little shaky down the stretch in the season. So everybody coming back healthy. This is a very young team. This is a team that's on the rise, and I know we've been saying that the last couple of years in hopes of another big step forward. But maybe this is the year. You know what I mean? The only question is, much like Buffalo, is with a new coaching staff, not really like that, but new offensive coordinator, new offense that you're going to have to learn, it's going to be a little bit different. So I wonder how much chemistry can be gained with Tua and his new weapons like Tyreek Hill. I wonder how much, continuity is going to be built on with all these players that have been there. And with Tua coming back again, yes, he's healthy still. And we got to wait and see, what kind of offense is he going to run, because we're expecting him to run a very similar offense to what the Niners run, where there's jet sweeps, there's a lot of runs, there's option plays, there's receiver screens, which I think bodes extremely well for guys like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to be utilized. And then defensively, they were one of the shutdown defenses last year when they were healthy. And then they got hurt. Then they kind of went through a little bit of a rough road. But I really believe that this team, I think they can make a step forward. I don't know if it's going to be early in the season because of the whole new coaching staff that's in place. They got to learn the new defense. They got to learn a new offense and what have you. But I really do believe in the weapons that Tua is going to have at his disposal, along with a much improved offensive line. I think the Dolphins' offense can go places and do a really good job here.
All right, we got No Donnie Yates in the house with us tonight on
What's going
YouTube,
on,
Joe.
Donnie?
He's a Niners fan. He says, "Kick rocks, Jimmy G."
Thanks for the treat, stupid.
There you go. And he says, "Good job,
if
guys.
I
Thank you so
remember
much."
correctly, No Donnie's a Cardinals fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Bob Money, right? Bob Money is the
Bob
49ers
Money.
fan. So, yeah, that's right. He is the Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
Oh, what does he think about what's going on with that, with the whole it's quarterback situation for them? I mean, that could be, potentially something, for them, but
He's going to
I
sign.
don't know,
He's going to sign.
All right, so let's look at the Miami Dolphins here. I see what you're saying too as well. I mean, the biggest question could have easily been again, what is Tua going to be able to do for this team? Is he going to be able to do it? Take them where they need to be? Like you said, they added the talent there to them, so obviously they gave them some more weapons to be able to beat people deep, to get that speed out there. But again, when you said being from the the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, you would think it is going to be very similar. And they did load up on running backs too as well. They already had Myles Gaskin before there, and he kind of underperformed for me last year. And so they have Chase Edmonds here with and Raheem Mostert, a guy who already knows this offense as well, to fit in nicely with this. And they bring in Sony Michel too. So they have running back by committee. Boom, there it is. Every which way they could go anywhere they want with these guys. So you could see the writing on the wall with what they might do. They want to mix it up. They want to get it going here. So this team, again, with the way this division is, they can make a push with, for this division. I think so too, especially if Buffalo does happen to struggle with this, way the new offense might be run by the new offense coordinator. If they do struggle with some of those, bigger, tougher teams that they're facing with that schedule that they have, Miami, will they be able to benefit a little bit of that and make a push here into this division and really make a stand? Because like we said, they have been doing this for some time here under Brian Flores, but now with the switches that's going on with them and he's out of here, and they've got the talent, we'll see how it lays out. Looks good on paper, but we won't know until they actually play the games.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the new offensive scheme that's going to be implemented is going to fit Tua better.
Yeah, it should alleviate pressure off.
And that's the reason why they brought a guy like Tyreek Hill in a massive trade, is because Tyreek Hill, it has similarities for that offense where he's going to be part of that go-to figure for them, but it's not going to be just deep bombs because we all know Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. It's because this offensive scheme is going to be about getting the ball in their hands fast and letting them make the plays. So you might see Tyreek Hill quite often do jet sweeps. He's going to be basically very similar to a guy like Deebo Samuel was for the Niners, where he's going to be able to run the ball at times. He's going to be able to do option plays. He's going to get into those short route running concepts, get the ball in his hands quick, and watch him explode after the catch.
Right, absolutely. So that will bring us to the New England Patriots now. What's the question for them? We talked about it a little before. So
it's all question marks.
Everything, the whole thing should just be loaded with question marks. With so much uncertainty, what do we expect now out of Mac Jones and the Patriots here? Bill Belichick has always said it's the second year in someone's career when you really find out what these guys are. But with the Patriots, people have always kind of gone to this coaching tree to try and grab people from coaches from Bill Belichick's room and move on to head coaching jobs, his staff, absolutely. Now Josh McDaniels has finally left officially and not, reneged and come back to him.
Faked it.
Yeah, he's now with the Las Vegas Raiders here, but they bring back even two former coaches, including Joe Judge here, but giving them assigned to different type of roles, and especially even in the offensive situation where one was a special teams coach, one defensive coordinator, and Matt Patricia, and now Bill Belichick has even come out and said that he might even run some of the play calling for the offensive side of the ball. And there's a lot of head scratching going on. So how does that really help a young quarterback like Mac Jones develop and move forward for this team? I know for a fact that he's kind of taken a lot of it on his own self.
I mean, the only thing I could think about for this Patriots team is nobody knows what's going on because honestly, they don't even know what their final coaching staff is going to look like because if you go to ourlads.com, and that's usually what we utilize for depth charts, if you go under the category for offensive coordinator, it literally says vacant. They don't know yet who is going to be calling the plays. Now, we've heard rumors that it could be Bill Belichick himself calling offensive plays? Question mark? Like, are you serious? This guy is a defensive guru, and now all of a sudden he's gonna be like, "Well, Josh can do it. I can." You know what I mean? And then they're still unsure. Like, look, they even got a combination at D coordinator. They don't have one guy. They have two. They have Steve Belichick, his son, and Gerard Mayo, former linebacker for the Patriots, both being the D coordinator, sharing the duties. So. And what's going on with Joe Judge? Like he's an offensive, quarterbacks coach or something?
Yes.
And then you have Matt Patricia, Matt Patricia should be the D coordinator, but that position is filled by two guys. So they signed Matt Patricia. Now he's coaching offensive line.
Reality is often disappointing.
Yeah.
What is going on with this coaching staff? What's going on with the front office and the decisions that are being made thus far? A lot of confusion. Even Patriots fans got to be a little upset about this because there's no clear-cut, concise decision that's saying, okay, well, the Patriots know what they're doing. They got this guy, this guy all lined up like we're used to. We're not used to them being in disarray, and that's what it seems like, especially the coaching staff. We're still not sure what's going to happen with that. I guess we're going to have to wait until after training camp to get that idea. But in the end, and then you bring up like Mac Jones, and that's the question. Mac Jones and the Patriots, what can we expect from them? I don't think we can expect too much because if you're just now, the start of training camp is upon us. And you still not sure what your coaching staff is going to look like. You got players coming into practice. Players are even going to have questions. They'll be like, hey, so who's my coach? Wait, who's calling the plays? Like, I need to know. You know what I mean? Like, Mac Jones, this is where I think it's going to hurt Mac Jones. It's going to hurt this offense is because he might take a step backwards in productivity, and not because of Mac Jones himself, but because of the uncertainty of who's going to call plays, who's the positional coaches. Like, that's going to hurt his development and this offense because, let's face it, the offense last year with Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, it looked like they had much improvement across the board, and it looked like they figured it out. They're like, okay, we got our quarterback, we got some weapons. They're not elite, but we got weapons, we can work with them. And they were on track to doing so. But now it's like,
I think they surprised a lot of people even too how they performed.
Absolutely. But now you look at this, and to me, I'm sorry, but losing Josh McDaniels, who's been there for like over 20 years as the offensive coordinator, they've never had to worry about that position until now. So now that that's happened, there's got to be some concern there because there's no clear-cut direction here. And then defensively, I feel like it's going to be fine. Their defense is going to be fine. They have Bill Belichick. They got Bill Belichick's son and Gerard Mayo and however many guys are going to have coach this defense. But they should be okay.
As a trend, though, this particular this season, there's a few different teams that have coordinator positions here now. So I'm wondering if that's a trend that people are trying to move to.
That's a bad trend.
And it's usually because of, again, you move on from a defensive coordinator, and they go on to a different team or whatever. So now they're like guys that have worked under them, still doing the same type of thing, but maybe
I'll tell you right now,
comprised of a few different people. They talk about it and work on it. Maybe one takes on maybe the linebackers or linemen more, and then some handle the secondary.
That's the problem with this. You have two different minds trying to coach the same defense, but two different ways.
Right.
And it's going to come down to game planning too. They are going to try to work together, and this goes for anybody. Like we've seen it the season prior. There was dual defensive coordinators. It doesn't work because one guy is more aggressive calling plays. Another guy's more passive. Another guy likes to play zone. Another guy likes to, likes to play man. And those ideas conflict with each other. And when even game planning, even if they all agree on, we're going to do this scheme, we're not going to really blitz much, all these other, opinions and ideas. Even when they come together like, I think the same way you do. When it comes to game planning, I don't want to do that play. I like this play better. There's going to be problems and discrepancies between both. And it doesn't matter how you camouflage it week to week and be like, no, we're fine. Yeah, we struggled last week, but we're okay. It's going to become a problem the further you go into the season. If you don't have a clear-cut D coordinator, it's not a recipe for success. And even
with this situation, it could be Steve Belichick knows the X's and O's. Gerard Mayo, former player, has been there, has seen it all, though, too. You know what I'm saying? Two different types of perspectives. He could be like, I've been there. I played this. You don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
that's what I mean, the two different mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing even if they're
But guess who's going to overrule them both?
Belichick.
Bill.
Boom, there you go. So he'd be like, no, you're both are stupid. You shut up. You shut up. I'm doing this.
This is what we're doing.
Who knows? But who we won't ever tell shut up is Mike Tackett. He's in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Mike?
He goes, back to the Dolphins. He says if the Dolphins were in another division, they'd probably be a wild card team. As such, they're third best in the AFC East. I'm not sure who you put in front of them now. Is he saying maybe
I
the
think
Patriots? Then,
I think
or
he
is
might
gonna
be
say
still saying Patriots.
The Jets, or is he going to go go all in on the Jets? How about that? You know, who knows?
He starts to come and then he pulls out.
We're about to talk about the Jets.
About to. But again, get back to Mac Jones real quick. I just want to say,
thanks for the comment, Mike.
If it wasn't for what they're doing with the coaching staff, he is now taking it upon himself. He has flown to all the different places where his wide receivers were in the offseason and did private practices with all of them. And going down the depth chart, not just his starting three that I think he might be. He's already knows Jacoby Myers and such, but Devontae Parker added on to this. So he's trying to get chemistry with whoever he can here on this team, just so if they happen to be in the field together and playing, that they are all on the same page and making it work. So at least that's the one good thing about this team that you're seeing for him, as having a good head on his shoulders and him wanting to get better himself. Forget what the coaches might be saying to him. He's trying to handle it himself. But we'll see. It could be. Are we going to see the beginning of the down years or the bad years? The dark ages for the Patriots.
Yeah, it's gonna be predicated on this offense.
Yeah,
I'm pretty darn sure. Nothing really that drastic is going to change on defense. Bill really runs that defense. It's almost like, let me put it this way.
Well, that's why the question's got to be offense, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, because you look at the Chiefs head coach, right? And his relationship with Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator. That's kind of what I envision with the Patriots defense, is Bill Belichick is going to basically tell or help those two guys learn the defense, game plan every week. It's going to be basically Bill Belichick like it has always been. You know what I mean? So that I'm not scared about the defense taking a step down and everything, because he's going to keep it in line. You know what I mean? But the offense, the lack of even knowing who the coordinator is going to be, that's concerning. And on top of that, when you don't have Josh McDaniels, who they've heavily relied on and have tried to keep there for so long, and rightfully so, but now they're faced with the hard decision of, now who the fuck are we going to put at offensive coordinator? Because here's the other domino effect, is now that Josh McDaniels left, he also took six offensive assistants from the Patriots on top of that. To bring with them. So guys that were like Mick Lombardi, I think he was I can't quite remember, but maybe he was a receiving coach or something like that. He was the next offensive guy to take over at coordinator. But he took him too. So they were so drastically dismantled on the offensive coaching staff, to the point where now they're like, well, we don't know who to promote next. You know what I mean? So it's created a little bit of a panic in a sense. Though they're a professional organization, they'll get it nailed down, but it's still got to be a concern.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so then finally that moves us on to the New York Jets. After having an excellent draft, can we expect more from the Jets this season? Last year, again, first year for their rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson. Maybe the question should be, whose mom is he going to bang next? Or mom's friend? Who knows? Not sure. Is he going to be on a dating game? He's going to be the next Bachelor? Not sure. What's up with that? But, after having an excellent draft, they did well. They grabbed all the players I think that they had an eye on. Finally, Joe Douglas has hit the nail on the head here for this one, doing what he needed to do. And Robert Saleh, again, coming back for another year. And now he's got the guys in place on defense. A guy like Sauce Gardner here, too, again, who's only he gave up one completion, I think, for 13 yards in his whole career.
He gave up no touchdowns.
No touchdowns, too. Yeah. So, I mean, elite there. And then also on the offensive side, get some weapons. So, you would think that now you would see improvement. You saw it at times last year, even though they didn't have a great record, they were able to compete with a lot of these different teams. I think they even beat the Bengals last year, and Bengals went all the way to the Super Bowl. So they competed hard still, and now to see them now this year, second year with this regime, and now Zach Wilson hopefully can get better, but having better weapons around him too as well. It's interesting to see what they can do with this team.
Yeah, I mean, this team, like, listen, if you're a Jets fan, and I know we said this last year kind of a little bit, we're like, they are rebuilding, but we did really like some of the pieces that they brought in last year. And everyone's like, yeah, but I don't know. And listen, they had a little bit of a disappointing year in terms of, listen, Zach Wilson went down with an injury, didn't play half the year, came back late, I think the last 2 games or 3 games, and played pretty well, you know? So there, you got some success out of your quarterback down the stretch. But then you're like, oh, well, you know, Jamison Crowder's really our only go-to guy, and we need more weapons, and our offensive line was putrid besides Mekhi Becton, you know what I mean? So, and then he got injured, you know? So it's like key injuries were happening. The defense still isn't set. Like, they still have holes, but listen, you rebuild for a reason, and they're doing it the right way. The last 2 years, if you take them and put them all together, I've been an advocate to fire Joe Douglas. Absolutely fire him. I thought he was one of the worst GMs. He hasn't done nothing for this organization in all the years he's been there until 2 years ago it started. And you're starting to see that this team is putting together some really good players out of the draft. They're putting together some free agents that they bring in to kind of lock up those holes. And now after a second offseason, I'll say this, that I think, in my opinion, the Jets had the best draft now out of anybody. Now, when I say that, it's also because they had the most first rounders to work with and second and third rounders. So that definitely helps out a lot. But the thing is, you also got a nail on every pick in order to be a huge success. And I think they did just that. They managed to draft, in my opinion, the number 1 receiver coming out in Garrett Wilson. They managed to draft a tackle, Max Mitchell, who was kind of underrated in the 4th round, who I think can develop to be a starter. Breece Hall was seen as one of the best running backs, if not the best running back coming out. They were able to get him. They also, on the defensive side, like Jim mentioned, Sauce Gardner, shut down corners. Something they desperately need is corners. They get him. They also get, who I cannot believe was there at 22, but Jermaine Johnson, a big-time pass rush threat, to put him on the DN spot up opposite Carl Lawson, who, if you remember, didn't play all year last year. So he's coming back for them. He played for the Bengals, I think, but he got hurt. But then you pair that up with some key free agents they bring in, like a John Franklin Myers, who this dude is going to be untapped potential galore. He's going to be good for them. You have Jordan Whitehead, who they bring over from Tampa Bay at safety. That's a huge addition. LaMarcus Joyner is going to play free safety finally, since he's had his, experiment at cornerback for last couple of years. But he's coming back to play free safety, which I think is a good fit for them. And then you take all those young players and you combine them from the draft stock that you had last year and all put together along with some free agent additions. You look at this offense and you're like, well, they got Connor McGovern to play center. You know what I mean? They got Laken Tomlinson. There's another addition. Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, who they drafted. This team is starting to look like a solid team up and down. They're still filling holes that they need. And Corey Davis had a pretty good year for them last year at receiver. Elijah Moore ascended in his rookie year and played really well for them. So there's a lot to like with this team, and a lot of growth is going to take place. So the Jets, I am actually kind of really high on this season. As long as they put it all together and stay healthy, I think that they could actually take this team to not be the bottom of the barrel in the division anymore. I think they might be able to get third and maybe second, believe it or not, if they can manage to beat the Dolphins up a little bit. Because I feel like the Jets and the Dolphins are almost in the same, they're in the same, pathway. They have talent, but they don't have all the experience yet. They have some holes still, but they're still making it work. It's quite possible that the Jets could really turn it around to the point where quite maybe, they could beat out the Dolphins for second place.
Yeah, and the major thing is getting this offense. What's it going to look like? They put the weapons around Zach Wilson, so all the pressure's got to be on him again, how well he can perform.
That's the thing.
His development.
It's less pressure because
Mike Mcclure can do it for him.
You now finally have more weapons.
Well,
you have a better offensive line.
So now you should be able to do it. You know what I mean? With how bad that offense looked last year, I mean, you would think that they could only get better.
But as bad as that roster was last year, I say bad, but like they had improvements, but then there was injuries that took place. But Zach Wilson, the last 2 or 3 games, looked pretty darn good. He looked solid. And that was with not as good of a roster as what we have here in front of us. So I think it creates that much more hope for this team. And you got a whole training camp to go through still where he's going to develop more chemistry. The team is going to get more unified. The defense has these young players stepping in and these free agents stepping in. Their defense is going to be better. It's not going to be up to Robert Saleh's or standards because they still need to work on that side of the ball. They had a lot of holes last year. Now they managed to fill some. But that's still going to be a continuing thing that they got to build upon. But I really do think that the defense will be better. The offense is going to be even better. And I think that's going to lead to a lot more wins for this team.
Oh, Joe. We've got breaking news, Joe.
Breaking news.
From our man.
Mike Tackett, what's going on?
Mike Tackett. Here it is. Tom Brady has a new tight end in Tampa. Former Vikings and Giants veteran Kyle Rudolph is signing a 1-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers per source.
Good for Kyle.
Wow.
Mike, thanks for the news break.
You got it. He's always on top of it.
You are our sideline reporter and always on top of it. But here's the thing is listen, I'm not really excited about it. Kyle Rudolph, listen, he's injury prone. He played with the Giants. He got nicked up with the Giants. I don't think this guy's got much to offer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they signed another veteran again.
They got.
So what? I don't think. If you look at it because they do have Tom Brady, he likes to spread the ball around. Yeah. He could potentially get some touches here.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's an impact move for this team.
But I think that more of an impact tight end for them is Cameron Brate, who's already there.
Right. Who has even been able to perform for them when they had Jameis Winston. So, again, you're adding another guy. It just seems like all of a sudden Gronk couldn't come back. So they're like, we need another veteran tight end just to join here to try and make another push here. They added Kyle Rudolph again, who wasn't really even that impressive for the New York Giants.
It's probably just a depth move.
So I hear you, but again, there's plenty of other younger tight ends, whatever you keep for depth, or get out there. So, okay, cool, but it is breaking news. Good for them, but I'm not really expecting a whole lot of difference out of that. But all right, so the Jets again. Do I expect more? Absolutely for the Jets. I think I expect more. What can their ceiling be? I think they could be. I think a ceiling for them. I think that would be impressive for them is going just under 500, 8 and 9. Yeah, I think would be nice, which I think they could achieve.
And who knows? That could be second place.
Who knows with this division?
You never know.
Though.
I'll tell you right now.
With the schedules that
and that's the thing is the Buffalo Bills have finally are that team in that division where you look at that division, you're like, well, the Bills got to win it. You know what I mean? It's no longer like a shoe-in where you're like, Patriots are always win it, so it doesn't matter. Now the Bills, it looks like they've taken that crown, that divisional crown in a sense, that they are the favorites from now on until they are dethroned. So, and after them, who knows?
Absolutely. So there you go. That was our AFC East biggest questions. We're going to handle the West next week, and then we'll be all wrapped up with the biggest questions. We'll get into some more Madden next week. Whatever headlines that hit us, training camps have started already for some teams here. We're going to get into more this upcoming week. We'll get some more information out of training camps, too, see what's looking good for some players, who's moving up the roster, things like that. In the upcoming season together as a whole, we're going to get some more interviews out for you guys. We have some new shows that we're going to be debuting in August, too, as well, so sit tight for that stuff. So a lot of new updated content for everybody out there, for all you know-it-alls out there, and we're expanding as we go further into this next year. So we're super excited about the new stuff we got in the works, and I hope you guys are, too. Joe, tell
one
him.
more time for the one time is I got to say this. Listen, if you're new to the show, we thank you, first of all, for watching our show. But other than that, listen, do us a favor, help us grow this channel, help support us, help us get more exposure, help us get noticed. Head over to YouTube, search us up Football on the Know Show. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. You can also follow us on Facebook if you feel free, so if you want to. You can also follow us there. Become a member, become a know-it-all. And it doesn't stop there because we are also on anywhere you get your podcasts. Listen, if you want to take us along for the ride, take us to work, take us on vacation, whatever you
Take me
wish.
to Hawaii. I would like to go to Hawaii.
Bring us both to a nice faraway place where we can chill and we'll talk your ear off about football for an hour or so. But listen, anywhere you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and I know a lot of people don't know this, but we're also on Spotify video. We also have our shows on Spotify as well, like where you can visually see them. So help support our channel. Help us get more exposure. Listen, feel free to comment down below at any given show. It doesn't have to be about what we're talking about. If you want to bring up a topic or a team or a player that you want to talk about, whether it be a trade that's happened, whether it be a signing, whether it be fantasy football, because fantasy football is right around the corner. I know some people are crazy enough to have drafts already.
Yeah, right. That is super.
But anything football related, we are here for you. We love to talk some football. Make sure you comment down below. Don't be shy. Tune in, tuna.
All right, that's it for us. We will see you guys next time.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.